Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 1987 Dodge Aries Wagon. Up front is a 2.2 liter inline 4 and down below is a 3-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this Dodge Aries for many reasons. First of all, I know this isn't the showroom quality vehicle, but I dang near begged the owner to let me drive this Aries. He recently found this car as it had been sitting for 11 years and I've never driven a Dodge Aries before. So I wanted to check this car off my bucket list no matter what it entailed, and so I'm bringing you this video today and I can't be more excited. But before we get on to anything else, if you would like to submit your own vehicle to be reviewed by me, you can do so through a quick and easy submission form you'll find on my website, zackpradel.com/submit. But let's get back to that 2.2 liter under the hood. Well, this is the engine that I most commonly associate with the K platform. Mostly when I think of a K car, I think of a LeBaron, which I drove with also the 2.2 liter. So although the K platform was offered with many different engines ranging from inline 4s up to V6s, the 2.2 just resonates with me and the K platform. This also does get now throttle body fuel injection, which is really nice and an upgrade over earlier K cars. Like I said, paired to it, 3-speed automatic, pretty typical for the earlier K cars to have the 3-speed. That is more reliable than the later 4-speed that was used at the end of the 80s and into the 90s. Last but not least, of course, because it is a K platform, it is front-wheel drive. So how does it feel to drive the Dodge Aries? Well, the steering is heavier than earlier K cars. If you watched my earlier video, I actually just got out of a Plymouth Reliant, and that had such light power steering that it was almost dangerous. This actually has a good weight to it. It's not heavy, but it's not light, and it actually steers like a more modern car. Although the Dodge Aries does feel heavier than earlier K cars, but the overall driving feel is the same. They're decently nimble, chuckable, easy to see out of like most 80s cars, and that's what I dig. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, the square gauges are gone, and in place are all round gauges. Off to the left, I have my warning lights. Again, 80s cars were not scared to show you the warning lights, and that's definitely true with the K car variants. Then I have my speedometer, fuel, coolant temperature, and battery voltage off to the right, as well as my oil pressure light and right turn signal. The steering wheel does have a little Pentastar badge down at the bottom. I really like that. And it has pretty low grips on it, so it really sort of enforces this cruising feeling to the vehicle. Off to the left, I do have a climate control vent and the headlight switches, as well as a rear defroster. Very nice to see for 1987. And then moving out of the door, we have manual mirrors, manual locks, and manual windows. Moving into the center, I do get an auto-reversing tape deck along with my radio options, AM and FM, of course. And this feels a lot more modern than 1987. Does it feel brand new? No. But I would say this is like an early 90s radio, and yet it's not in the 90s. So I guess high praise for the Dodge Aries there. Then I do have the climate controls. I do have air conditioning, as well as fan speed to the bottom left, where to send it to the bottom right. And I get my cigarette lighter. Then we do have a little pull-out ashtray. This is very typical for the K car platform. And then off to the right, we do get this little Aries badge, which I am quite a big fan of, especially since I was so excited to drive this Aries today. Then we don't have anything on the floor, not even carpet, which this car originally came with carpet, but again, it sat for 11 years being unloved, and in that time, an entire ant colony came in and made this vehicle their home. So no carpet today here in the Dodge Aries. But also, I don't have any cup holders, so by default, the 1987 Dodge Aries fails the big friggin' bottle test. Then we gotta talk about the seats, and yes, I said seats plural. This no longer has a bench seat like earlier K vehicles, and I actually like these seats. They are plush and comfortable. I'm having a good time enjoying them, although I do miss the sort of retro-ness of the bench seat. I think the buckets are kind of the way to go in terms of comfort. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a backseat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 1987 Dodge Aries wagon, and a couple of things to note. Because this doesn't have a bench seat like the Plymouth Reliant wagon that I recently reviewed, this actually has a lot more legroom, which is really, really nice. Although now this car has a headliner, which my hair is touching, it's totally fine. I'm 5'11", I'm not a small guy, I don't fit in a lot of back seats, and so this is actually pretty decent. My knees have a lot of space. Although the door opening wasn't super nice to me getting in, that's okay. Overall, the back seat is actually decently comfy and cushy and actually kind of nice to sit in. However, speaking of space, let's go hop out. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then maybe we'll talk about the looks. All right, we're on the back of the Dodge Aries. Pop it like that and pull it up. Now this does have a really old school cargo cover. You can see this sort of thick material and it just hoops on there. You pull that out and then it will retract, and this is the rear cargo space of the Dodge Aries. Again, pretty much the same as the Plymouth Reliant that I just drove, and so not any news here. I do get a spare tire underneath, of course, but again, I can just imagine all of the kids that laid down back here during road trips, or family pets on road trips, all the luggage. We're going up north to see the in-laws. Mom, I don't want to see the in-laws. Well, you have to. We're doing it. We're driving to Maine. That sort of thing. So I love imagining those sorts of stories, and I'm sure that there's a whole group of individuals that grew up in the back of Chrysler K cars, and so that to me is very cool to see. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I love the look of the Aries. I think it's a little bit more rounded up at the front and back. More so the front than the back, but I like this sort of transition into the bubble era. The Ford Taurus had already debuted and knocked everyone's socks off with its curvy appeal, so you could see Dodge moving towards that era, and that's very clear with just the styling of the car. However, with all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the Dodge Aries? Well, personally, I think this is incredibly cool. It's always been my bucket list to try to drive as many K vehicles as I can. And when was the last time you saw a Dodge Aries riding around? Probably not all that often. And probably even more rare was the wagon version. So this is just a cool and interesting car to show you. But like I said with the exterior, I think this is a really interesting piece of Dodge's history, because not only were they moving towards the curvy era, but build quality had taken a bad turn yet again. You see, when the Chrysler K car debuted in 1981, it helped save Chrysler from financial burden. They actually took out a giant loan in order to get the K car built, and they paid it back within 2 years of the 5-year loan. They were making money off the K car hand over fist. These things sold incredibly well, and they could maximize the platform using the Taco Bell method of having 5 ingredients and just reshaping it to whatever it needed to apply to. Well, by 1987, Chrysler was starting to lose money again. Now, they were still being profitable and nowhere near where they were in the late 70s, but build quality started to slip. Going from the 1981 to this 1987, there are some build quality issues. The doors don't slam and click like they famously used to. There's more rattles, there's more squeaks and beeps. And yes, a lot of that can be attributed to this car sitting in a field for 11 years. But just the overall essence of the car, it's a little bit heavier. You know, it has a gut now. It's starting to age. So like the 1981 was a turning point for the K car because it was conceived, 1987 is a similar point where it started to go downhill. The K car in the auto industry was considered middle-aged, been around for over 5 years. And to a car, that's a lifetime. Yeah, they upgraded it and gave it fuel injection. Sure, yeah, all right, whatever. But Dodge was starting to slip again. Chrysler was starting to slip again. And although this wasn't a failure, Chrysler didn't completely flop and go out of business. They actually even acquired AMC during this time. Like any addict, the addiction never really goes away. It just gets put on pause until a later date. Hopefully that later date never comes. But in Chrysler's boat, it did. In the 2000s, they were broke again. And so I named this video Addict's Mentality, because that is how I view Chrysler. They're always coming back, asking for more money, begging for more money. And when you give them a loan or they create a successful vehicle, yeah, they don't contact you for a while. They're riding high, but they're not investing it in their future. They're not paying off student loans. They're having a party. And when that party's over, reality sets back in and their pockets come up dry. It's happened again and again and again. It happened in the 70s. It happened in the late 80s. It happened in the 2000s. And while, yeah, the Hellcat has been doing really, really good for them with modern Chrysler products, and Jeep brand is doing great, it's only a matter of time before they come asking yet again. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Carl for letting me take out his Dodge Aries. Like I said, he fully told me the condition of the car, and I said, I don't care. I want to film it. And so, don't give Carl any gub for it not being a showroom quality vehicle. I'm just happy to be here, and I'm happy to know Carl. He's been an absolute wealth of knowledge when it comes to the K platform, and I cannot thank him enough. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.